Happy Thursday!
What's up? What's up? How's it going?
Dude, it's an awesome day. How's your day, my man?
Dude, I am so tired. A certain somebody had me up until 4:30 last night. I took about an hour to fall asleep. I wound up waking up at like 6:30 just because. And then at 8:44, I got woken up because apparently my father forgot to let me know that we had a job today.
Oops.
I'm operating off of like maybe 2 hours of broken up sleep.
Nice. So about halfway through, if I see you kind of sitting there going, then I know to say something. Oh, there you go. Java. Yeah, I don't know who kept you up all night, but man, I ought to find that ball guy and just smack him upside the head for you.
Yes.
Absolutely. So welcome everybody. See who we got in the house tonight. So Rose, how you doing, my dear? House explodes. Oopsies. Yeah. Serenity is refilling his water. Yep. Sorry, I didn't have my water. I was running late. My bad. See, I was wondering if you forgot. No, I remember the button. I got the button. Wild Angel says, hi, gang. Hi, Wild Angel. How you doing, dear? And BTK says, Yellow, my man. How you doing, brother? By the way, love the pictures you put in the Discord for the setup, man. That is wicked. I wouldn't even show you my redneck setup, but we won't go in and get into that. But it's a great reminder, guys. If you haven't cast your vote yet, voting polls are open. They open every Thursday morning, and they run until Wednesday night. So definitely jump in the Discord, get your vote cast. And there's the link right there in the chat. Hop in, and from there, you can talk about anything. We've got channels for DeFi, for trading, for whatever you need. So it's an awesome place to hang out, to get to know the people. You can talk to Cyril, to me, and everybody here in the chat is always in there keeping an eye on things. Maybe kind of quiet, but man, just throw a message in there, ask a question. I guarantee you're going to get a response pretty quick.
Yep. And if you ever have any questions, or if you're kind of following along on the charting journey, or you got questions about your own portfolio, obviously not financial advice, but feel free to, tag me and be like, hey, this is the setup I have. Do you see any risk, right, that I could mitigate? I'm happy to help you with that. Not going to tell you what to buy, not going to tell you what to sell, but if there's risk, and I see it, I'll let you know.
Exactly. And so yeah, definitely jump in the Discord now. Wild Angel says, it's Thursday to Wednesday. That screws me up. I remember on Thursday. Well, and that's a great thing. Right now, you can go cast your vote and tune in next week. That's when you'll be part of the anthem. So,
you did forget something, though. Oh, wait. Never mind. I suddenly hear it. The background music. It wasn't there literally like 5 seconds ago, I swear.
No, it wasn't. I just did it.
So I was right.
Yeah, wife is telling me to turn off my Discord because apparently I sound glitchy and I'm doing the robot, but
you weren't
it's not open.
Glitching or roboting for me.
Okay. It might be because I'm running more miners than I was. I'm starting to turn on the CPU miners and the ASIC miners. And yeah, my internet starts to hate me after that.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that while you're streaming, right? Especially CPU mining, because then your computer's not going to know what to do with itself.
Right. Now, my computer, I only mine CPU mine when I go to bed. I put it to work when I just before I get up to go to bed, turn it on, let it run through the night, make a few cents. Like, okay.
It is worth noting, if you are going to be doing CPU mining, absolutely make sure you're using a free tool like Specky, SPECCY, to monitor the temperatures of your CPU, because any kind of CPU mining will raise the temps, and temperature is the enemy of life for your CPU. So make sure you're monitoring your temps, throttle back whatever you need to so you're not running too hot.
Exactly. And yeah, I actually started using Hive OS on a few of them out in the garage because you can get up to 4 miners on there for free. I'm like, well, hey, I'll give this a shot. And that saved me from going through and installing Windows, doing all that. A little challenging to figure out. I want to do a video one of these days for anybody interested. But yeah, it's the first time I'd actually set it up start to finish. And once you got it going, it's pretty slick.
Awesome.
So anyway, so Wild Angel saying she's going to be looking at charts through the night. Oh, no, there it is. And that brings up a great question. Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
Brings up a great question because we talked about charts in an earlier episode a couple weeks ago. And I think we screwed up, man. I need some correction here. So let me bring this up real fast. Now, we were looking at the BTC chart here. And if this looks familiar to anybody, this is where I couldn't remember an ascending flat top wedge. Look at me go. And during that stream, now we talked about, this is before it did this peak, but that's when I asked, shouldn't this go up, a breakout? And you said, no, it should go down. So I'm really curious. Can you explain to me why this broke out the top?
Yeah, so after our episode, I went back and looked at, because there are a lot of different patterns, and the flat top ascending wedge is one of the less common patterns, right? And so it's not one that I'm like super duper familiar with, because, you know, like Serenity here, he likes to be like, oh, you know, Cyril's the master, blah, 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 blah. But I'm human too. So I went back and I looked, and the flat top ascending wedge is a pattern of continuation, not a pattern of reversal. I got that mixed up, right? So apologies. But, you know, hey, I'm human too. So yeah, it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Okay, and so walk me through, so make sure I do this right. So if I've got this flat top ascending wedge, I'm supposed to go through and draw a vertical line at the mouth of that wedge.
Correct.
Okay.
The mouth would be further that way, no? Where it started? Yeah, so start from there. Or nah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then you would clone it with your little 3 dots, drag it over there. There's your take profit. And you see that was right where it started to do a little pullback.
Right. Yeah, it hit just dead perfect right there. I mean,
yep.
Okay, so good to know. And yes, that was one thing I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what he said. And yeah, and that's the one thing, I think is really important is we all make mistakes, but even at the same time, even if this is the pattern it's going to do 98% of the time, there's still that 2%. It can go the other way, right?
Right. Absolutely. You know, because patterns are just that. They're patterns, right? You know, using the moving averages. Well, moving averages are lagging indicators, right? Because they're the weighted average of the previous candles based off of the period. So the blue one you got there, MA50, that's it's always going to show you the average price of the previous 50 candles. So they're lagging indicators, right? That's why my trading strategy combines the patterns with the MAs. That way they kind of confirm each other. And as you can see, you had that right there. You know, you were getting the support from the moving averages as the price was, you know, forming higher lows, pushing it up, and then boop, off it went. But yeah, you know, that's the same reason why Serenity is always saying, you know, don't take my word for it or Cyril's word for it. You know, do your own stuff, right? Because sometimes we forget which pattern's what, right? There's so many of them. But ultimately, if you know the core couple of patterns like head and shoulders, cup and handle, Adam and Eve, rising and falling wedges, you're all right. And that's all you really need to know. If you want to expand into other ones like flat top ascending wedge, or, you know, even smaller scale like candle patterns, right? Where it takes a couple of candles and it makes a pattern. You might have heard like the 3 soldiers. Those are like individual candle patterns, but there's a lot, and you don't need to know all of it to be able to trade the ones you do know, right?
Okay. And that makes sense. And so let me ask real quick before I change, I had another question on the charts. But right now that this broke out, it hit our take profit. And this is kind of where we stop and we wait. And if I'm correct here, if I'm learning as we go through this process, it did a major move, and now it's doing this whole static zigzaggy pattern. I don't know which way is up or down. And that is consolidation, right? Okay.
Yep.
Hey, I learned a word.
it got too far away from the moving averages, right?
Right.
You know, and Wild and Angel and I had a great chat on Sunday, and I was showing her the moving averages and how all of those plays with the candles. And yeah, if the candles get too far away from the moving averages, you'll hit that period of consolidation where it will either go sideways or it'll pull down to meet with the moving averages.
Okay. That makes sense. And So right now, the best thing with BTC, for what we're seeing here on this chart, is to just wait until a pattern starts to refill.
Yes.
Okay. See, I can be taught. Okay, so I got another question for you here. Wow, I just screwed up. There it is. I lost my little button. So I want to go over here because I started looking this earlier today. And I had a question, and so I thought this would be a great time to go into it. Okay, so here we're looking at XRP. Wow, what did I do? Okay, here we go. Let me zoom out here. Zoom out more. There we go. Okay, so I started to see what I think is a formation of a cup and handle, but I'm not really sure. So I thought this would be a great time to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started your trend line in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I say that, do you see just how crazy that one candle is, right?
Oh, yeah, it was like straight up to the moon, like rocket ship.
Yep, and then came back down, right?
Yeah.
That is a news event, right? Don't include news events in your TA. Start from the high next to it.
Okay, so move this point down to here.
Yep.
Okay.
And now you'll get a proper measurement for your cup and handle that you see forming. Because again, the cup and handle has to start with a peak on one side, then it comes down. You get a peak, comes down anywhere between like 15 to 50% of the climb right before it made the handle.
Okay.
Sure. And then once you hit that trend line there, you should go up the depth of the cup.
Okay. So if I'm doing this correctly, and something weird is on the stream, guys, where my mouse location and what is on my actual screen is two different places. It's weird as hell. So if you see things magically appearing, that's why.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay. So now if I'm seeing this right, I should go from here. Like that?
Yeah, you can do it like that. I generally try to take it from like the middle region of the cup and to get the full scope of the depth,
Okay.
especially if the neckline is angled, right?
Okay. So I kind of need to angle then my depth of the cup then, because like the whole thing is sitting sideways. So you're like measuring it this way, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. So then if I take that, now a cup and handle typically, if it cups downward, it typically breaks up. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then I would take that to my breakout over here. Let me get rid of that one. And it should be hypothetically something like that, maybe.
Yes, correct. If you're drawing out the cup and handle and measuring it for the breakout, that's what it would look like.
Okay. Got it. But now, as we talked about before, you never want to take it right to the top. You always want to cut this marker down just a little bit by what, 5-10%? Is there a number there?
So it's the amount you cut back is not an exact science, right? Because the key thing to remember about support and resistances is that it's a zone, right? It's not a hard number. There's a buffer on either side of it. So if you have resistance at 90 cents, right? Which I believe, it's kind of hard for me to see it here on your chart, but I believe that's about where you have your line.
Yeah, 91.76 or 0.9176.
I would set my take profit for the psychological 90 cents.
Okay. Just pick a nice round number that people are psychologically going to say, yes, that's a barrier.
Because when it starts to get close to $1, people are going to start selling it, right? Because it's been under $1 for so long. That's a really good profit spot for them.
Okay. Got it. And that makes sense. And so I was kind of curious is because a cup and handle, I mean, I think that's what this is and what it's going to form. But now this could change its mind, right? It's not like I can put a trade in right now. Because I mean, part of me says, hey, look, if we put a trade in now, I can catch this extra little bit right here before it even hits that resistance level. So let me get in this second.
Yeah, so there's two different philosophies towards that, right? And the one that I want you guys to take if you're new is you wait for the confirmation, right? As you start to get more familiar with it, you don't wait for the confirmation. So like, I don't wait for confirmation. I buy levels, right? I buy, if it is coming down and I see a support zone at the bottom of the cup there, or the bottom of the handle, and it starts to curve back up, then I'll go ahead and put in a buy. But I also am experienced with risk management. I'm experienced with the trading, so there's, it's a little different. When you're new, wait for that confirmation, right? Wait for the candle to start and then close above the trend line that you've drawn. That way, that's your confirmation. We are on the other side of it. It's not just a candle that poked up and then came back down. It's one that started and closed on the other side of it.
Gotcha. Okay. And like BTK is saying, wait for 2 candles close above line. Yeah, more of a cushion. That makes sense, BTK. I like that. And Funny Toro, welcome to the show, buddy. And Sandy Walls, thank you so much for the super sticker. We love to have you here. And I'm glad you're here because you know what? You won last week's giveaway, but you weren't here to do the DM. So I've got to give away tonight to somebody else. It's all right. But I hope you win tonight. Tonight's prize is $20 plus. If I win, I throw in another 10 and we go again.
Ooh, potentially 30. Let's go.
Yeah. Or more. If I keep winning, man, I'm waiting. One day I'm going to get like 5 in a row. It's like, oh God, what did I do? It's going to happen.
What would the odds be, right? You'd be in my DMs like, Cyril, can I temporarily borrow like $500 because I just rolled myself like 20 times?
Exactly. So thank you so much, Mom, for the super sticker. And guys, I definitely want to say thank you to everyone for your support. Right now, Down Home Crypto, our Rags to Riches journey, everything is growing our community. And so thank you, everyone, for the super stickers, for spreading the word, because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help everybody. So go out, tell your friends, your family, make sure to like and share this out there, because this is how we're going to try to educate the people that have no idea this world exists. So thank you.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing without you guys here, right? Somebody's got to vote for which little DeFi protocol we're going to buy, right?
Right.
If it was up to me, I'd just be buying blue chips. So
I ain't buying nothing but this. Okay, done. And and the market's been really doing pretty wild. And so, I mean, even with those spikes of BTC and stuff, it's like, wait a minute. Okay, it hit that take profit, but then it turned around, spiked again. So things are going kind of weird. And that brings up the next topic I want to ask you about. So I just read today that the BlackRock ETFs got a delay. They have a new deadline on to January 25th. Now, let me ask you about that, Cyril. So let's bring that chart back up for a second here, because I want to get your opinion. Now, not financial advice, everybody. I just want to get some insight into what can I expect to see this chart turn into now that we got that latest news.
That's kind of why we're in consolidation today, right?
Oh, okay.
The pump kind of slowed down. Everyone was trying to kind of front run that ETF approval, but now they're like, it's delayed. It's not denied, which is why you didn't see it immediately crash, right? It probably would have dropped down back to like the 38K region if it had been a denial. But it's a delay. So everyone's like, all right, we're just going to kind of cool here for a minute and wait, right? So that's why we're just waiting. Personally, if you're buying for the short term, I would not be buying Bitcoin right now. I would not be buying anything right now if you're just trying to buy for the short term. But because we're setting ourselves up and we're DCAing, and we did so much DCAing at lower prices, right, that it's okay if we do a buy to add to our portfolio long term at a higher price. That's why you DCA, right? You're gonna get exposed to that volatility. This week we might have, like, if people voted for BTC this week, we might do a buy at 43,000, right? And then if something happens and next week we're doing a buy at 38, right? But we also did a lot of buying of other deep blue chips and stuff like that at much lower prices. So it all evens out.
Okay. So as long as we're not doing it at the top of the bull market, then we're doing good.
Yeah, essentially. And since we know we're not buying at the top of the bull market right now, right? Again, take this with a block of salt, right? But if you utilize the logarithmic chart of Bitcoin version 2, a lot of people refer to it as the rainbow chart V2. Feel free to Google it. It's a very powerful tool. But that's the tool that I've been using for the last 3 cycles now to know where it's going to go to, know where it's going to pull back to. We're looking at, again, giant block of salt. But I believe that leading up to the halving, we're going to float somewhere between like 38 and 58, right? $1,000 on Bitcoin.
Okay.
Then when the halving occurs, that's version 1, sir.
I told you version 2. Okay, my bad. I'll take it down. I'll go find version 2. Sorry.
I'll send you the link. Hold on.
Okay.
1 second, folks.
Sure. And Mom says, thank you all for the information. Absolutely. You know, that's why we're here. We want to try and help educate, and we want to give this information out to everybody out there, because most people who could really utilize this have no idea it exists. So we keep showing up and you guys keep talking about us. So thank you. And we got nothing better to do. Nothing that's nearly as fulfilling as this. That's a better way to put it, I think.
I like how he says we got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like, that sounded bad. No,
but I do have fun doing this with you guys, and, you know, sharing the information and showing you guys the tools that you can leverage to bring about your success, right? I did send you the link over in Discord. Did you want me to post it? Oh, sorry. You closed it? I'll post it in here.
Okay, yeah.
I posted it in the backstage.
Gotcha.
So,
and so, okay. There we go. That's pretty picture. I like that. Shark scale. There it is. Got it. Haha.
Yeah. So as you see, Bitcoin follows the same pattern, right? You have, it gets really, really hot during the bull run and reaches up to the second or the top. So the second from the top or the top band there. And then during the bear market, it pulls back to the bottom or the second from the bottom, right? Okay. Leading into the halvening, you wind up seeing it kind of run up a bit, right? And then it either goes sideways or it pulls back. It pulled back a bit the cycle before last, but not this most recent cycle. And then the cycle before that, those two, it kind of crabbed sideways, right?
Right.
So it's a bit of a toss-up as to what it does immediately after the halving, over about like 3, maybe 4 months after, you know, the hash rate is halved, or sorry, the difficulty is doubled, or however you want to look at it, the halvening. Right. So it's a toss-up what it's going to do there. But I personally believe that we are kind of mirroring the market prior to the 2017 run.
Which is back here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you had the halving. The price pumped a bit beforehand, pulled back a little bit, and then said bye, right? And that's what I think we're kind of mirroring, because that's the run where Bitcoin became a household name among retail traders, right? Where it started seeing a big bump in adoption. Everyone knew what Bitcoin was because that was the first time it went up to the the 19K. Like it went out of the water. See, on that logarithmic chart, it looks like the price has always kind of been around the same, for the bull runs and everything. But when you actually hover over what that price is, it's significantly more than the previous run. That's why this is a logarithmic chart.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, here I'm looking at $1,079. This one's pushing what about $19,065.
Yep.
And then of course the last one. Now the last one's really interesting. Instead of having one peak, we've got like two smaller peaks.
Yeah. So the reason why I think we're mirroring the run prior to the 2017 run is the bull cycle was similar to the one before that, right?
Okay.
So you see how we had essentially two defined peaks in our most recent run.
Yes.
We had two separate defined peaks in the run in the bull market prior to the 2017 market. What was that? 2013, 2012, or was it 2011?
2013.
2013. Okay.
Yep.
But you had those two separate defined peaks. And then you had like that valley between them. It's all kind of stretched out this particular bull run compared to the previous 2017 cycle, but that's also due to a lot of external factors. You know, the companies that are buying Bitcoin now, so it's prolonging, you know, the price increase. It's prolonging when the markets are hot, whereas prior to that, when it was mostly just retail traders, when you bought something for, let's say you bought it at the peak of the last bull run, the 2013 one, and you spent $1,700 on a Bitcoin, right? If that Bitcoin suddenly becomes worth 19,000, what are you going to do? You're going to sell it, right? Because right. Bitcoin is still just kind of a curiosity at that point. And so that's what happened. We very quickly came down off that bull run, the 2017 one.
Oh, that one right there. Okay, gotcha.
We very quickly came down off that one, and it was a painful time in the markets. I mean, you see that drop that had started in like the December, November, December of the 2018. It was brutal.
Yeah, and there's a cliff that was like falling off right there. Like, damn, that was like straight down.
Yep. That was when. Forgive me if I get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's when China first said they were going to make Bitcoin mining illegal in their country.
Okay. I remember reading a couple of those articles where they had like all these miners out there in a tractor driving over. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was painful to see.
Yeah. And then of course the halving was different during that bull run, right? So look at the halving that we just had. So you see how prior to the halving, it started to run up, right there. Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened. That was COVID affecting the broader markets. So you can't really look at what happened last halving to get a good gauge of what we're going to do this halving.
Okay, so we got to look at the one before that over here.
The one before that and the one before that.
Okay. And yeah, you can kind of see a similar pattern. Like you got this deep dip right here that's fairly short. Right here, you got a deep dip that's pretty similar right there.
Yes.
Same kind of thing. Ran up, then pulled back, and right now it's running up, so it's probably going to pull back some. That makes sense. Okay.
I think we're going to... you broke it. I think we're going to pull back before the halving, right? The previous one, because we had the COVID impact, right? Once that was essentially, when we were recovering from that and Bitcoin was going up, it never really had the opportunity to do a pullback after the halving. So it just went for it, right? Because it had already been dragged down so sharply due to COVID. That was a macro factor. And then once the macro factor was no longer really affecting it, it had to recover from the macro and do its usual price play. So it had to get back to where it was, and if it had continued that run, it would have gone up further and then pulled back leading into the halving. But because we had dropped down, we came back up to that and then went into the bull run. Does that make sense?
It does. It's kind of like if your car falls into a pothole when you're pushing it's out of gas, and one tire falls in. Now you have to do extra work to get out of the pothole first and then continue your journey. Same kind of game.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And that makes sense. And now I know it's dance time, guys, but Wild Angel had a great question here. And so definitely want to take some time to answer this. So question, the neckline on a head and shoulders, is it at the top of the shoulders?
So Serenity, I feel that you could actually answer this question. Do you want to give it a shot? And then
I'll give it a shot because her and I were talking about this, and from my understanding, a Head and Shoulders begins at the side when it starts the first hump, dips, goes up and over, dips, up and over, dips. So essentially, it would be more of the armpit or the nipple line than it would be the neck. Is that correct?
That is correct. So you want to kind of picture it like you're shrugging, right? Like, right? Your neckline, right?
Okay.
Shoulder, head, shoulder, but your shoulders are above your neckline because you're like, I don't know what this is going to do, right?
Okay. That makes sense. Now I look really stupid. I'm sure somebody's going to make a meme of this.
Well, that's all right. I just looked like a tool doing that too. So, but hey, that's a great thing. It's being uploaded directly to YouTube, so I'm sure they can scroll back and like screen cap Serenity. Oh, sorry, you're on that side. Screen cap Serenity over there, and draw a little Head and Shoulders on him.
Somebody's going to do that. That's going to be great.
Well, no, the best meme that someone could do with that is they just took a picture of you, right? And then just overlaid to the side a picture of a bottle of the Head and Shoulders shampoo. Like that's a dual layer meme, right?
Ooh, I like that. Yep, somebody's going to do it. I guarantee we're going to see it in the Discord before the weekend hits. So, and Wild Angel says, I got confused. Got it. Okay. Did that answer it, Wild Angel? Because if not, we can go through it. We can draw it. We can do whatever you need to make sure we answer your question thoroughly.
She's got it.
Okay.
She's
Perfect.
got it. Yeah.
And if not, she'll come in here and go, do that face again. I'm like, okay, I got it now.
That's the YouTube thumbnails, right? Where they go like, or that's the YouTuber thumbnails that I absolutely despise. But for some reason it gets the clicks, so that's why they do it.
Right. And there's some that I've done that way where it's like, oh my God. And some of them I'm legitimately just excited, things like that. And I try to give a good representation when I'm doing my thumbnails. It's like, okay, how do I really feel about this project? And I try to portray that in my thumbnails. And some are like, seriously, are you kidding me? No. Others like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I'm like, huh? It's like, yeah.
So,
okay.
It is time.
It is time indeed. Now, remember, guys, for the dance-off, you had to have voted in the last week. Right now, the voting polls are open for next week. Voting always stops Wednesday night at midnight. Okay, so keep that in mind. And that's USA time, so Mountain Time. And then they start. I don't know, you had that face. What did I do?
I had that face because I was like, okay, so Mountain Time, so that's 2 calls after midnight. Because that's how we tell time here in the US. You have to listen for the eagle scream. Yeah, so.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, J-Steen, welcome, buddy.
So.
And it says, time to dance for our bees. Yes, you got it. So the polls are open right now. Definitely go and cast your vote. And I want to bring that up again. It's at the very top here. So join in the Discord, and that's where you can ask questions on trading. You can cast your vote. You can ask about mining or ham radios or pretty much anything you could imagine. We've got somebody in the community that's a master of it, or at least very experienced at doing it. And that's cooking, that's sewing, that's automotive, electrical, tile. Take your pick. We got it all.
Yeah, or if you're craving an existential crisis, just tag me and ask me what reality is.
That'll always do it. That's always fun. So, without further ado, let's bring up the dance. Oh God,
Will you share audio?
I just removed it, so I gotta.
Oh, well done.
Yes, I had it, and I broke it.
Hopefully, you didn't remove the list of names from wherever you have it saved.
No, thank God I didn't. But the good thing is, I did not have audio shared. So, see, that was a blessing in disguise. And that brings up a great concept, real quick. Oftentimes in life, things go wrong. But I want everybody to take a moment and stop and say, what worse luck did my bad luck just save me from? Keep that in mind.
I wouldn't have met my wife, which means we wouldn't be sitting here today right now. If 4 years prior to meeting her, I hadn't gotten in a car accident, which wasn't my fault. Someone pulled off the road in front of me. I've never been in an at-fault accident. And before Rose types the comment, except when I was 16 and it was in my driveway and 3 trees jumped out in front of me. Anywho, that's beside the point. So yeah, that was a really shitty thing that happened to me at the time. But we're here today.
There you go. Blessing in disguise. So Wilda says, who am I going to get paid this week? Good luck. Yes, who are we going to pay? And yes, I did steal her line. Actually, Wild Angel loves that line. And I always, I have to stop and think about it before I say it because I screw it up every time. But it's an amazing concept. So you ever want to know more about that or dive deeper into that, jump to the Discord and we will chat about all that. And Cyril will melt your brain and you'll be up till 2 a.m. with him talking. Then he'll blame you later for it.
Because it was 4:30 my time.
No, 2:30 my time, man.
Well, la-di-da. Isn't that great for you? No, I'm just kidding. I had fun. But
I wouldn't change for the world. I loved it. So, are we ready? Dance up! Dance up! And remember, guys, the prize today is $20 because, unfortunately, Sandy did not DM me. If you win, you must DM me before the end of the stream to collect. And if not, it rolls over to the next person for next week. So, make sure you're ready. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big money, no whammies.
Dance off. Let's go. Rose, you're all the way over on the edge, so you might actually stand it. Oh, J-Steen.
J-Steen, sorry, buddy. Yeah, Rose has a chance. She's hiding next to me. Oh, Chrome, sorry, buddy.
Crumb. Good. Crumb's not winning this week.
BTK. Sorry, brother. There goes
John.
Sorry, John. Yeah, we better start dancing here. Rooster, man, it's just working its way from the inside out.
It is. It is. I think like you're gonna get taken out next, and then it's gonna be I just gotta shut up.
Rose! Congratulations, Rose.
Congratulations. You won.
Hey, you know the rules, and yes, the rules apply to family, friends, and everybody else. So DM me before the end of this so I can verify it's you and send me your wallet address, and we will send you $20 in some stable coin on some chain somewhere. I don't know what it is.
Please not AVAX.
I love AVAX.
Please not AVAX. Okay, neither one of us carry funds on AVAX. I had to borrow like 0.01 AVAX from BTK in order to be able to turn the USDC that you sent to me on AVAX into AVAX so I could actually send it somewhere. And yes, I think it's awesome that Rose won, and it was a double pot because her birthday is this Saturday.
Happy birthday, Rose! So I want to ask how young we're going to be because, yeah, that'll just get me hurt.
Well, it will also be our daughter's birthday.
Ooh. Well,
and it will
birthday,
also
Lily.
be Rose's biological mother's birthday.
And happy birthday, Grandma.
Yes, 3 generations in a row, all 21 years apart and 10 hours apart. Witchcraft.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. And JC says, congrats. And Wild Lane says, happy birthday to daughter, mom, and grandma.
That's why I live in fear. There's witchcraft happening here.
There's some voodoo shit going on, man. Says, why do you love AVAX so much, sir? BTK, that is a great question. I think it's something we need to dive into. So when I first got into DeFi, one of the couple of projects I was in, they launched on AVAX. And so that's what I grew familiar with right off the bat. And so it's something that I think it's my first entry point, has kind of made me enjoy it the most. Then I tried trading on Ethereum and gas fees were retarded. BNB was through the roof at the time. AVAX, at least I could get one. And it wasn't a ton of money, but at least I felt like I had accomplished something. And I think subconsciously that carries over through my journey.
That makes sense. And, that's legitimate. There's a reason why a lot of people will target lower cost tokens, right? And you actually saw an entire season, alt season in DeFi where that's what they did, right? They launched with these quadrillions of quintillions in supply. And so there was like all of these zeros and then the price, because there were so many tokens. But people went for it because they felt like they were getting a lot, right? You know, like Crow Brain is happy from big number. Ooh. And so that became a thing. And now we're seeing a shift away from that. Everyone is trying to do the low supply tokens, right? And they're going back to the original Bitcoin narrative of, oh, low supply, scarcity. And that's the driving narrative that we're seeing it shift back to. So it's just funny how it all comes full circle.
It does. And it's interesting. And so I think the whole DeFi evolution, it just a rotating wheel until something existential happens. Something has to impact it. And I think we're seeing a lot of that. And before I get into that, though, let me catch up on the comments because that's going to shift me on another tangent way I go. A lot of says because it's cheaper. And yeah, in a lot of ways it is. If you try to, the gas fees, they're one of the cheapest networks out there. Oh, you okay?
Yeah. My eye just decided to stop working. But that's probably the sleep deprivation.
My bad.
Oh, good.
Yes, BTK says triple birthday happiness. Yeah, see, and we have twins in the house, but they're born a day apart. One before midnight, one after midnight. We still have 2 birthday parties, just so they always have their special day. So I couldn't imagine having 3 birthdays on the same day, man. That's got to be brutal.
Dude, in December, I have to deal with 8 birthdays in my immediate family, and Christmas. Do you understand why I have my fingers in so many pies? I need it just to afford December.
Right, exactly. Christmas is bad enough, but dude, was it all spring break babies or what was going on? Something happened in April, obviously, man.
I don't know. It's a brother on the 7th, Rose, Lily on the 9th, brother on the 10th, a sister on the 19th, my father on the 25th, Christmas,
that's
and a sister on the 29th. I'm not exactly sure what she would be, but Evie's on the 11th. So yeah, I guess that's, I don't know. There's too many.
Lots. Yeah. Exactly. 22 years and 12 hours apart each. Okay, that is wild, Rose. There's
Crazy.
definitely some voodoo stuff going on.
Oh, and it was all 10 a.m., 10 p.m., 10 a.m. 10.
Voodoo. There's some voodoo. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even know where to go with that. Yeah. Cosmic alignment mush. Yeah, exactly, Wild Angel. I agree. And Sandy says, happy birthday to all of you. And Sarah, make sure DM Serenity. Yes, DM me. Got to do it. And congrats, Rose, from Funny. And Rose says, I DM'd him. Good girl. Yeah, we got a lot of comments from him, but I got to catch up. Thanks, everyone. Absolutely. Jason says, I think AVAX will be back over $100. Yes, I absolutely do. I think it's going to do it. I think it has continued to grow. And I'm starting to see more and more protocols launching on it. And you can buy Bitcoin on AVAX, the exact same value you can on Bitcoin or anything else without paying the exorbitant fees. So why wouldn't you? I mean, I think there's a lot of possibilities to it, but I think Solana is going to be the big one that really takes off. And I think BNB is going to come back with a vengeance. So, not financial advice. These are just my personal opinions.
Yes.
And yeah, it is an expensive month. I don't want to be in Cyril's house buying presents on December. Yeah, we have 4 December birthdays in our house. See, half brother or sister were all within 5 days.
I just placed one Amazon order for like some of them, and it was like $560.
Ouch. And Funny Troll says all altcoins will be way over last bull run's all-time high. I think they will, Funny. I think the ones that come out and the ones that build momentum. Now, I'm really curious, what you think about the Cyril, because my opinion on those is we're still going to see altcoins. We're still going to see the fill full of hot air kind of projects popping out. But I don't think we're going to see nearly the crazed FOMO of those projects. I think there's enough wisdom and growth. People are going to shoot them down quicker unless there's either a lot of strategy or a lot of mechanics to them, to where just the endless supply of meme coins. I don't think it's going to happen near as big this year. What do you think?
I mean, that's what they said during the bear of the last bull run.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you got to think, if adoption is growing, right, which is the only way money moves into the space, right?
Right.
Those are new individuals. If you're growing so much more than you did previously, that's so many more new starry-eyed, I'm going to put $27 into PayPay token and get 14 million because I don't understand how liquidity pools work. You know, like, you're getting all of that coming into DeFi again, but even more so, right? So it's really going to come down to those of us who know better actually speaking up continuously, calling out the protocols that are doing that, calling out for education, and reaching out to as many people as we can. And that's why I agreed to do this kind of thing with you, and made that initial 1-year commitment for the Rags to Riches series, is because I know that that's going to span through the bear, right? Or like the last half of the bear is when we started this, I think, and then it's going to extend into the bull, and try to spread that education into the space so that we're not seeing so much of that. But again, it's going to be a tsunami, right?
Right.
And we are but a few.
Yes, we are. But we're strong. We got it. And so that's really where we need your guys' help. Everybody watching this, whether it's live in the stream or the recording, we really need your help to try to get this wisdom, this education, and this knowledge out to everybody. New people are going to be coming in. And the quicker you can introduce Rags to Riches and Down Home Crypto to these guys and gals that are just getting into the crypto space, you're going to be saving them a ton of money and a ton of black eyes. Now, most of us had to go through a rug or some traumatic event in DeFi. I think we all have. I've been through several. And that was like a rite of passage. But our whole goal here is to make sure that people don't have to endure those types of scams and shills and just crap programs to save their money, because we're trying to get people in here that they're probably barely making it anyway. They're giving up their lunch a week to invest. So we want to make sure we're giving them solid projects to invest into.
Yep. And in order to give them solid projects to invest into, you got to get rid of the majority of the crappy ones, right? Because that's where the attention tends to focus, because they're leveraging the fact that most people don't understand the way DeFi works yet.
Right. Exactly. And Jason says, yeah, the top 50 to 100 should be nice in the upcoming market. Great. Looking forward to it. Yeah, same here, buddy. And I'm still collecting my my blue chips. I'm investing in projects I know that are going to live. Now, we're seeing a lot of new partnerships and stuff that's coming out. I know Helium just partnered with T-Mobile, and they launched a cell phone app. We're seeing AAA game companies like Star Atlas merging with Epic Games. Not these weird off-brand like Gala or something that they just made up. But we're seeing a lot of big partnerships there. Now, how do you think that's going to change our next bull market, Cyril?
So, with larger partnerships like that, it plugs in access to larger capital, right? And larger user base, because most people who aren't really interested or familiar with the Web3 industry or the DeFi space or any of those other things, or utilizing crypto, they aren't generally exposed to it because they're not here, right? And there's not a lot of reach into the real world yet from here. So the only way that they are going to hear about it or be introduced to it, or in some cases forced to use it, is through those business partnerships with Web 2, right? Or as a lot of people like to call it, IRL businesses. That's how they're going to get exposed. And that's going to kind of compound the effect, right, of the next bull run, which is why I'm referring to, hey, next bull run, probably in early parts of 2025, it's looking at anywhere between 130,000 per Bitcoin to as high potentially as 320,000 per Bitcoin. And that's a pretty big range, right?
Right.
But that's what the logarithmic chart says. right? You can even go back and play with it and look at it and see that.
Oh,
So it's all kind of connected. As those additional partnerships are made with real world businesses, it exposes more, which then brings in more, and it creates that feedback loop.
okay. And that makes sense. And so Sandy asked a question is, why don't you guys get your parents in this? The older folks need to learn. That's a great question, Sandy. And the funny part about that is that's coming from my mom, who I just spent an hour with her today talking about this. And I go in and I draw charts out, and we start doing this simple breakdowns of, okay, well, this is liquidity. And I think everybody should learn this. I think that's a great thing. So how about you, Sarah? Are your parents and your extended family, are they learning this stuff as well?
So I attempted to teach my father, right? Because I knew when to sell in 2017, or yeah, was it 2017? Sorry, tired brain.
Okay.
But I knew to sell last bull. Oh yeah, that would be the last bull when Bitcoin was up around like 60 to 5,000, etc. And he comes to me and he's like, "How do I invest in the Bitcoin?" Right? Not Bitcoin, just the Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin.
So I'm like, all right, it's time to sell, right? Just like when Warren Buffett knew the markets were hot because his shoe shine boy was like, "Hey, I got a stock tip for you." When the people who would never be involved in it start asking about it, that's when it's time to sell, right? Just so you know.
Okay.
But that might be a little different this bull run because of those real world businesses, and because the older generations are going to have to start learning some bits about it. But I think it's going to be a little different, because as these businesses get more integrated with it, they're going to do their best to simplify the way Web3 works, to obfuscate the blockchain transactions, to sign this, sign that, gas fee that, swap this to that to get this, stake, etc. They're going to simplify all of that, and they're going to obfuscate as much of it as possible. And you can actually see that they know that that's the way they're going to have to go, because Coinbase is developing a product called Wallet as a Service, which attaches a brand new part self-custody, part centralized custody wallet tied to your email address and password, right?
Oh, okay.
So when you're signing or whatnot, it's a little pop-up box that says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Okay, cancel, right? Enter in, do this, send this to that. And it's gonna be Web 2 friendly. So the generations that are old enough that they're not going to be in this space natively, by the time they need to learn it, they're going to have made it user friendly for them. So
not nearly as complicated as it is for us right now on the cutting edge DeFi. Transfer this and bridge to that. Right. It's like, yes, no, got it.
Because remember, if you wanted to buy Bitcoin before centralized exchanges became a thing, you actually had to code your own Bitcoin wallet individually to access the blockchain. So if you didn't know how to do that, you weren't playing, right? So think of how easy it is now compared to having to know code to partake in it. And that's a pretty huge leap. So imagine the leap that's going to happen in another year or two as these bigger businesses are getting involved. It's going to be that much simpler. It's going to be the same thing as swiping your card at checkout, inserting the chip, pressing the button on the terminal. Like, it's going to go that way.
And that makes sense. And, and Funny Toro had some great advice for us. It says, remember to always DCA out and take profits when you're in the thick of the bull run. Great advice, Funny, because that's a lot of us. We get wrapped up in the greed, like, oh my God, I'm up this much. I need to keep going. And then it crashes down. And so, yeah, great advice there.
Yep.
Speaking of DCing out, how is our portfolio looking now? The hell was that?
It's someone riding a dirt bike down the street. Sorry about that.
I thought it was an airplane crashing into your house or something. Like, oh, there goes Cyril. Hi.
It sounded like it. Yeah, let me go ahead and share this. Hold on.
Okay.
take a look-see and see how our portfolio is doing.
A fart
Right.
can. That's what
We'll
it sounds
start
like.
Yeah, it was. Oh, and I just want to point out, like, when I first made this spreadsheet, I put 35 weeks in it, and I was like, oh man, it's going to be forever before I'm going to have to add more. We're getting close, dude.
We are. We've been running a while now, and we're building up a solid portfolio all the way around.
Absolutely. So we started last week because the markets were pretty volatile, and we had a pretty large exposure to BNB, right? And BNB would take that nosedive with the Binance lawsuit. We believe it's going to recover, so we're not going to lock in an unrealized loss. We're just going to retain the asset for now. So we did take that hit, and we started the week with $696.66. That's a lot of sixes. But 69, nice. And then we ended the week at $708.41 for a profit of $11.75, or 1.66%. More sixes. Maybe I should go play the lottery or something.
Yeah, put sixes on everything.
Right? You just however many times I can punch in 6 before they kick me out.
Right.
So we're gonna add our 25. And we're going to figure out here in a couple moments what that's going to be. But we're starting the new week at $733.41. So we've been trending nicely. Like realistically, it hasn't really been many months of drawdown for us, and we started this in the depths of the bear market. We actually started before it got to be the worst of the bear market. So that's good. That's the power of the DCA.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you look at that chart and it just keeps ticking up and up and up and up. So that's not bad. We got one that's a hair lower than the previous one, but it turns right around and continues. So there's no downward motion. I love that. I think it's great.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so let's see what our community voted for. And remember, the voting polls are open. So once this is over, immediately go vote.
Do me proud, guys. Come on. I haven't really seen it yet because I've been running around all day. So please do me proud. What did we vote for?
We voted for blue chip of BNB.
Awesome. It looks like we almost wound up voting for BTC. Now, an interesting thing. Let's look at the psychology of this. People were feeling BTC very closely compared to BNB here. And these votes came in before BTC started the run over the last couple days, right? Because that was the voting from the previous week. Right. So it kind of shows you what the sentiment is like in the space, and then the other ones that are on there, AVAX. Has AVAX been doing well lately? It has, Matic's up. Dude, when I took the price down for last week, Matic was at 76 cents. When I jotted it down this week, it was just shy of 85. That's a big jump. So yeah.
Exactly. And I know on this poll already, I'm seeing, I think Solana's on there now because it's been doing some tears. So yeah, I think we're going to start diversifying our portfolio a little bit more. So that's great.
Well, I know the Solana that we have has done very well. It got voted for once. So it got $5 put into it, right? And it has, what's it worth right now? $14.15. Okay. So that's almost a 3x of what we put into that.
Damn.
That's solid.
Yeah. That's awesome. Nice job, guys. Okay. So on the DeFi side now,
sorry, and I was complaining that you guys made me try to bridge money over to Solana. Remember that?
I remember that, yeah. And it's one of those. I don't want to do this. It's so terrible. But now we learned that it's like, hey, sometimes doing that extra little bit of work is worth it, especially if it's on a solid foundation.
Yeah, and that's why we have the community vote, right? I wouldn't have put that into Solana because I didn't want to deal with the effort. I would have tossed it into Matic or tossed it into BNB or whatever. So
there you go. And so,
guys,
yeah. Well done.
Back. You 3x'd an investment that you chose.
That's pretty awesome right there. Look at a smart community. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, me too. So what do we do for DeFi?
Well, apparently DeFi sucks. So that's actually what they put on the voting. It's a DeFi sucks. So we instead are going to put that into whatever one on our blue chip vote, which is BNB again.
All right. I guess we're doubling down on the BNB position, right? Which makes sense for us. If we saw that, I mean, we are in profit on our BNB position, but we did see a pretty sharp reduction in that profit. So it would make sense to, if we believe that as all that dust settles, Binance will do fine and BNB will continue on and rejoin the correlation with the rest of the blockchain, that there's a better value opportunity there. So it makes good sense to go ahead and double down on our position at this point, because we experienced that pullback, but we plan on holding the assets longer term.
Got it. That makes sense. And so, with that pullback and stuff, with the whole lawsuit, all of that, I look at this as like a blue light special sale. They've got the new CEO in place, and he's already the type that conforms to the legalities and the SEC and all that. He's going to play well with others, unlike CZ. So I don't see how it could go horribly wrong. Of course, I've been wrong before, Lord knows. But yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant of the community to see that opportunity and to seize it at this moment. I think that's great. Absolutely.
And bring up real quick Funny Toro's So what's our portfolios year to date? So if we had taken all of the money that we've invested to date and we had made single purchases and put it all in right then into whatever we voted on, our portfolio would still be down approximately, sorry, doing head math at the moment, approximately 40%. Just so you're aware. So our current year to date, with that in perspective, is we are down 2.16%.
That's a little bit.
Just a baby bit. But we've been building up a very strong position across a good, decent range of blue chip positions and some, DeFi positions that, stand to benefit. So all in all, we mitigated a significant drawdown if we had just invested into our current spread at the current ratios in one shot versus the way that we've done it.
So that's almost like, if you're talking 40%, 2%, you're talking like almost 38% profit just by doing a DCA tactic instead of all-in-one tactic.
That is correct.
Okay. Pretty solid right there. Well done, everyone. Proud of you guys. Now, question for you real quick on our investments. So with our Solana, okay, so our rules of solvency say, or our rules that we're running by, say if something 2X's, we take out 25%. Are we going to do that on blue chips, or are we going to let those ride?
So that's for the DeFi projects, right?
Okay.
Because we're putting $20 of the 25 that we're putting in each week into DeFi protocols. Those are the rules for it, right? Our goal is to hold blue chips that appreciate long term, right? Because that's how we grow. That is how we build a really solid foundation that we know will grow on average X amount per year when averaged out over time, right? Because that's how you build the nest egg. That's how, you are able to kind of live very comfortably later on in life, because as you need to sell parts of it to cover your expenses, it's worth so much more than when you originally bought it, right?
Right.
So we have the rules for the DeFi protocols because what we're really trying to get is the blue chips.
Okay, gotcha. And so we do have to make a distinction between what type of investment, based on the type of, or the type of investment decides the rules we're going to run with that investment.
Right, because the rules are all based off of what is your risk to reward ratio, right? Because nobody gets into a DeFi protocol until they first buy a blue chip. Right? So if we believe the space as a whole is going to grow, what we really want is just the blue chips, because everything else is represented under the blue chips.
Right. You got to have the native token to buy into any DeFi project. The native token is what gets gas fees. All the transactions occur there. That's all your arbitrage. All those earnings come through the native blue chips. That makes sense. I like that.
Yep. So that's why that's what we want to accrue.
Gotcha. Okay. I just want to make sure we had a distinction on that in case people were asking. Now, one more quick question on our portfolio. We had a singularity position. Has that come up, expired as of yet?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that this was actually our 40 days, or our 30 days from when I locked it. We've earned 83 cents in claimable BUSD. Since it's not locked anymore, since we haven't hit we need to sell out of this drawdown, and we haven't hit any of our take profit stages yet, it's mostly been trending sideways in a range. We might as well keep it in the singularity. And if we wanted to accept the same level of risk that we had just finished accepting, we could lock the other half, right? Because we could unstake this half at any time.
Gotcha. Okay. And so even though our timer runs out, we don't immediately have to cash it out and say, okay, that's all we made was 83 cents. We can let it continue to ride in
Correct.
the hopes it continues up. But knowing that lock stake is gone. So our limitations are now gone and we are free to do as we choose. And that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mute fast enough there.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, still getting over the cold, guys. Sorry. So no, this has been a great show. And if you guys have any more questions for you, we'll wrap this up, toss them in there. But I want to take a minute real quick and say again to Sandy, thank you for the super sticker. It means a lot. And believe it or not, with all the fees we pay out and stuff to keep doing this and stuff, donations like that really do help. So thank you very much. And also, guys, we are close to that 1,000 subscribers. We're 968.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
So close you can taste it.
I can. I really can. I'm excited. But you know what? I want to say thank you to you guys and the gals, the community, the friends, the family, everybody out there, because you spreading this word and letting the world know that we're here is what's really doing this. And that's why we're here. We're here to help, educate, and guide and get the word out there. So thank you. And as always, the only thing I ever ask is take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please tell your friends about it. So bring them in. Let's get them educated. And let's get them on this journey with us.
Absolutely. Thank
Awesome.
you all for being here.
Thank you. And Cyril, thank you, buddy, for always making the time, my man. I love it. And last comment, Funny says, can't wait for the bull run in 2024. Man, you and me both, brother. It's going to be an awesome time.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Freaky Friday, where we have a surprise guest. I'll tell you who it is just because you're here today. Smiley Girl is going to be coming back with us. And
will we see Wild Angel again?
I think we will. I do believe she will be off. So we'll have a couple new faces in the crowd. We're going to have a great time.
Awesome. And a little teaser. We're going to talk about the money game.
Ooh.
So if you want to find out the way the money game works and the way it's played, in all of life, tune in. It'll be fun.
This is going to be fun. Yes. It's going to be an adventure. That's for sure. We get everybody up there. We always have a blast. So thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Be safe. Keep taking profits. Build up for that blue chips. So Have a good night, guys. We'll catch you next week.
See you next time.